Hello, everyone. So tonight what we are going to be planning to do is actually work with our dogs. I do request everyone's patience in that, as this is my very first virtual training session. So hopefully it goes well and easily and that I'm able to give some feedback to everyone as well. A little bit about me before, since many of you, this is the first time that we are going to be meeting each other. My name is Emerald Mojica. I am the contract trainer for Canine Companions for Independence, and I'm based out of Seattle. I have been raising for Canine Companions for just under 20 years, and it has been a fun time with a lot of different personalities of dogs, as well as some dear friends that have been made along the way. Let's see, I'm also a family chiropractor here in Seattle, which is where I'm recording this video from. And I really like to eat a lot of my food with tortillas. If I can make a burrito out of it, or I can eat it just with my hands, that is my preferred method. I don't particularly like metal silverware. It just kind of tastes a little bit funny in my mouth. So a little bit about me. What we are going to be covering in tonight's class is we're going to be doing a little bit of a warm-up with our dogs, since potentially for many of you, the dogs may just be hanging out. So we want to get them warmed up, get them focused up on us. We are going to be working on a tuck sit. Is there anyone that doesn't know what a tuck sit is? And you can just, the easiest way for me is, okay, Taryn, yeah, is to type it into the chat for me. So we'll go over what a tuck sit is. A synopsis of a tuck sit is essentially, instead of having your dogs, so let's imagine this is their back paws, front paws. When your dog is standing like so, many times when they sit down, they'll bring their back paws or their front paws to meet their paws. And this makes it essentially the dog moves away from the handler. So instead, what we're going to do is their back paws are going to come up to meet their front paws. So they're more or less staying in the same spot. All right. Now, specifically for our assistance puppies that are working with Canine Companions, the reason that that's important is if you have, if their graduate, your dog's graduate is not very mobile, then if your dog is constantly scooting away from them every time they do a command, that becomes a compounding problem. So with a tuck sit, we're able to keep them nice and close to their handler and nice and compact as well. We're then going to work on a heel. Of course, we don't want the dog necessarily to have their leash in their mouth, but you got to work with the photos that you're able to find. We're going to get, and the heel is going to be from the left side of your body. Your dog is going to swoop around and they're going to get themselves nice and tight, their shoulders next to you. I'm going to be showing everyone how to do this. I have a demo dog, Bonnie, with me tonight. Tracy or Marna, I'm forgetting right now, how old is Bonnie? I think she's around 4 months. But anyway, she's just a little puppy. If you want to type that in the chat, that would be great. And then we're going to essentially bring this all together, and we're going to work from a heel into a bed and a bed to heel. All right. So we'll also actually probably work on a down for a little bit as well. And we're going to compound and bring these all together so we can make it nice and easy. So if you have some sort of a mat or a bed that you're able to use, great. I'm actually using a bath mat, or even if you have a towel or a blanket, anything that your dog is able to target essentially on the floor. So yeah, thank you, Marta and Tracy. Bonnie is 3 months old, so she's just a little pupper. And I haven't worked with her really too much, other than seeing her in class. So you will all get to see how this all works. Sorry, I'm seeing more people in the waiting room, so I just want to admit them. There we go. So you'll see what it looks like when a dog is working with someone that they haven't worked with before, and maybe some of the things to keep in mind if you ever do a puppy swap, which with the CCI dogs, we certainly want to see that they're having some time around having them move around from household to household, that they get used to working with different people. Daniela, you're asking, is it okay if we haven't introduced the commands yet? Yeah, of course. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting it from the very beginning with all of these. And I'm not expecting anyone to have this down perfectly, no matter what your age is for your dog. All right. What we're looking for is just getting the dog used to the command. I want to give everyone the tools so that they can continue doing this at home. And it doesn't matter if your dog is 3 months old or 3 years old, or even 10 years for that matter. If they're willing to work, we can practice with them. So that's a great, great question. I'm going to go back to the share, or stop the screen share. And before we get started, does anyone have any questions? Because I'm going to be a little bit further away from my keyboard, and I've been noticing that my eyesight sadly is starting to deteriorate, which I thought would never happen. So any questions before we get started? You can either raise your hand now, or you can type it into the chat.
I lost you.
Oh, you did? Oh, goodness.
Am I the only one?
I think I'm seeing other people move on the screen, so I'm assuming that maybe people get some thumbs up if you can see me.
I can see you. I can't see the what you were showing before, but maybe you took it off.
Oh, I just took that off now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went back to the regular screen. That way I could see everyone's faces, and hopefully if you can get your camera in a position that I'm able to see your dog, that would also be really, really helpful. Let's see, Carmeletta, Emerald, I found a great way to keep the audio clear when demonstrating with the dog is to dial into the call on a cell phone and use earbuds to talk through. That may have to happen tomorrow night. Thank you, Carmeletta. That is actually a great idea. I didn't even think about doing that. So let's, if we can, get our cameras in a position that our dogs can be seen. I'm gonna readjust my camera as well. So bear with me. Actually, I guess I should have tried this a little earlier, but it was kind of a spur of the moment. Let's see. So I guess I need to tilt this up just a bit more there. Okay, cool. No one breathed too hard. All right. So let's get our dogs. What we're gonna do is, yes, bunny, cool, yeah. We are gonna get our pups out. We are gonna get some treats. So I always like to just use kibble. There we go. If you have some like super tasty treats, hi baby. That's always a great option too. But if we're doing any sort of longer kind of training session, I always like to keep it straight with the kibble because it is a little bit less of a high calorie count. And then you don't have to go and start doing carrots and putting your dog on a diet. Yes, good girl. So a couple of things that we're gonna start with is we are going to warm our dogs up with some eye contact. And what we're gonna do is we are going to bring our treat that we have, and we're gonna bring it to the side, and then we're going to allow our dog to look at us. And as soon as they look at us, we're gonna mark it with a yes, and we're gonna give them the treat, okay? I think there's some people in frame. Oh, that's a good idea. I'll just move things back a little bit. And man, I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't account for the camera angles. Okay. So what it's going to look like, I'll just show you from here. If your dog is sitting right in front of you, you're going to hold the treat out just a little bit to the side. Your dog is naturally going to be looking at the treat. Don't. Yes. Your dog is naturally going to be looking at this treat, and as soon as they look at you, that's where you mark it with a yes, and you give them the treat. Now, if they're not very, if they haven't done this before, there we go. Maybe that's better. Bonnie, come here. If they haven't done this before, and they're just really focused in on that treat, you can make a little bit of a noise. Bonnie, Bonnie, say their name. Yes. And as soon as they even turn their eyes to you, you're going to mark it with a yes. Oh, am I freezing? Yeah. I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, so we can do this from both sides. We can start off on our right side, and the dog is looking over that way. And then as soon as you already played this game, haven't you? Yes, you have. Yes. As soon as your dog makes eye contact with you, you mark it with a nice high-pitched yes. And then you can try it from the other side. Yes. Good girl. And what this is training for your dog is that no matter what's going on, we like them to start to always check in with us. Yes. Good girl. So let's say that you're out at eventually this could look like we're out at a public gathering of some sort. We are in a busy coffee shop months down the line, and our dog is maybe, some dogs might get a little bit overwhelmed, but if they're constantly checking in with you, that's doing is it's allowing them to get comfort and guidance from you as you're on the outing, okay? So this is always a great way to warm your dog up. It gets them focused in on you. Let's see, Judy, I see you working on, who is that? Yeah, I think I can only see the bottom half, but I see Inez there. Daniela, I see you working. That's nice. You're going way out. That's awesome. And if you need, there it is. Perfect. Mark it with a yes. And you can even, once your dog really starts understanding this, you can even put the treat maybe a little bit behind them. So they're having to turn their head. There you go. If we all look at Daniela there, and right there, you see that her dog is looking right back at her. And what we're doing there is, it's not only where they're looking to the left or the right, but it's even if something happens behind them, that they still check in, yes, with you even after that. Perfect. Excellent, everyone. Let's see. So we're going to put our items, or rather our treats, down for a second, and then we're going to I'm going to attempt to show everyone the tuck sit. Okay? So our dogs are nice and focused. I'm going to bring my platform here, and someone else's, hold on, all right. So we've got, I like to have a little platform when I'm teaching the tuck sit. Many times, we use a jump box to accomplish this, but when you're at home, maybe you don't have all your training equipment, so you got to be a little bit resourceful. So if really, you may not be able to totally do this in the film, but I see a couple of people that have stairs in the background. Stairs are another great way to teach this. And what we're gonna do, especially if there's a landing at the top of the stairs. So we'll have our dog up on the platform. Yes. Now in this particular thing with this seat, it's a stool with 3 legs. So I wanna make sure that Bonnie's weight is gonna be centered over one of the legs, because we don't want the chair or the item to be tipping one way or the other. There we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring our finger up underneath our dog's belly if they're sitting. So I'm kind of just taking my finger, I'm putting it right here, and whoop, it'll go pop up just like that. And I'm bringing the treat forward here. So what I'm looking for is that Bonnie's weight is actually up in her shoulders here. And this is what we're looking, as soon as you start to see these muscles engage, you start to bring that treat up like you would a sit. And then what we like to see is that her back legs meet her front. Okay? Does that make sense for people? Maybe get a thumbs up. And I see Tony and Jeeves working on an ottoman there. That's great. So again, what we're doing is we're bringing that treat forward. We see the weight is mostly in the shoulders. You may even see the back legs are sliding forward a bit. And when you see that, you bring the treat up, just like so. I like to bring the front feet right at the edge here, because what this prevents is the dog doesn't want to step off that ledge. Okay, so they're gonna really plant their feet down into this area, get that downward force, so then they're able to bring their butt forward. All right, now if we want to do a down, it's very similar. Keeping the front paws in the same position, and we just bring that treat down. Okay, there we go. Now we may have a little bit of an overhang of their paws. That's okay. We're all right with that for the moment. What we're really teaching them, though, is that they're not moving backwards to accomplish this command. All right. Now, one thing I will say that I could be doing better here is I could be releasing the dog in between the commands. All right. I'm getting slightly distracted with doing too many things at once, but once they're in this, we could say, yes, go down, mark it with a yes, the command name, down. And then after a moment, depending on your age or your puppy, you can do a release or an exercise finish. Let them know, yes, oh, so good. Oh, yes, ready for the next treat. Now from here, we're in a down position. And we can either come back up to the sit, and we're gonna use the same technique that we did before, is that I have my treat kind of out here. Bonnie's weight is forward, and she's gonna pop up. Her front paws are still right here. All right, let's see, I'll do it again. So I'm gonna bring her down into a down. Yes, good girl. I'm bringing the treat still forward, so she's gonna have to reach with her neck here. And I'm keeping it forward, and then she just pushes up with her paws. Okay? Excellent, very nice. All right, let's have all of you try this a few more times, and I'm gonna see if I'm gonna watch here, and we can go from there. So we have some dogs using some different surfaces, perfect. I see a dog, there we go. Okay, Carmelita, bring your treat a little bit closer to you and away from, there we go. Yep, perfect. That's like a great little like hop thing there to even tuck your dog's butt underneath them a little bit more. And so that transition will take a little bit of time for your dog to get used to it, but eventually this will just be an automatic thing where their butt comes in nice and close. All right. Now, since we're here, we're also going to do a stand. Okay. So we're going to essentially keep that treat out in front of us. And then I might give a little bit of encouragement in the back just to have the dog get the idea that we're doing that stand. Okay. So once again, there we go. She pops up. What I would really like to see is that these back paws reposition themselves backwards. Yes, good stand. And then I might even, don't go too far back or else you're not gonna like what happens. All right. And we can even put a little bit of pressure in between her shoulder blades here and then the back of her butt. Okay. There we go. Good girl. Release. All right. Excellent. Yes, you're doing so good. You're doing so good. Okay, let's see. I'm going to watch a few more things. We have Lottie doing it on a peanut ball. Excellent. Stacy, we've got there. Captive audience. Linda. There, perfect. Your dog is like really figured out the game there. That's great. I saw your dog move right forward. That's perfect. Okay, excellent. I think we got that all there. Perfect. Excellent. So, more people are wanting to get in. There we go. Welcome people, everyone. Sorry if you had to sit in the waiting room for a little bit. I apologize. I'm still trying to figure out how to turn that function off. Okay, so is there any questions that people have regarding doing the tuck sit, the down, and the stand before we move on? That was excellent work, everyone. You can either raise your hand or you can type it into the chat. Either or. Okay, looks like we're all, I don't see anyone rushing to their computer. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna teach our dog the heel, okay? So the heel command is gonna be on the left side of our body. And yes, we're gonna have to figure out how to do this, okay? While staying in frame. All right, so let's get Bonnie down off of here. And we're gonna move that aside and actually Bonnie, okay, so I'm gonna do this from two different angles and I hope everyone is still able to hear me. We'll start from this angle here. Now what I always like to do is I keep my right foot planted in one spot and I will step back, I will step back with my left foot, all right? And while I'm stepping back, I'm using a treat to lure the dog, and I'll show this, but I just wanted to talk this through. So I've got Bonnie here. My right foot is going to stay the same spot, and I'm gonna step back here with my leg. Get a white background there. I'm gonna step back with my right leg, and as I do that, I'm gonna take a treat. So we're here, I'm stepping back, luring, I've got all this extra room now, bringing her in, and then bringing the treat up. And because we've been working on that sit tuck, her butt came forward, okay? So again, I'm starting, your dog could be maybe in front of you here. We're gonna step back, bring the arm with the treat to lead the dog around, arc, step back into position, and then lift that treat up. Yes, good, heel, release. Oh, what a good girl. All right, now from the front, this is what it's gonna look like. I'm recognizing more and more that it can be a little hard to show with a darker dog, but we're gonna step back. We're bringing the treat. Hey, that's it. Keeping the dog's attention, and we're stepping back into place. Okay, and the dog is going to be nice and in line on your left side. Release. Hey. Okay. So let's see here. Let's have you all start doing some of those. See, you've got Tony and Jeeves. Very nice. Nice work, Linda. Very good. All right, Kat, nice work. Sit. Sit. Yes, good girl. All right, nice work, Jessica. Release. All right, Carmelita, let's see. I think your dog is a fast dog. Excellent, really nice. Now, what we're eventually going to be working up to is that we don't need to take that step back. All right. But in the beginning, we're wanting to give our dog lots and lots of space to be able to maneuver. All right. Now, as they get the idea of how to do this, then you can compact that and compact it until it's just a nice little almost hop that the dog gets into that position. All right. But for right now, if your dog is just learning this, we're going to keep it nice and easy. All right. Are there any questions that people have with this command? And you can always, if you can raise your hand, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can do that as well. I think Jessica might have a question. Can I please demonstrate what my feet look like? Okay. Yes, I can do that. So I'm gonna put Bonnie. Let's see if I can actually. Jessica, I'm gonna unmute you. Okay. So you just want to see how my feet are moving?
Yeah, or I'm not sure, like the positioning with like my feet to spin him around or exactly.
Got it. Okay. So I'm gonna show it. Would it be helpful to see it without Bonnie and then to see it again with her?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's see. I'm gonna move. Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, so, all right, so, yes, you, all right, so my feet are here, and then I'm stepping back, kind of like I'm doing a lunge, almost, all right? And as my feet are here, that's when I'm taking my hand, and the only reason that I'm stepping back is because if my feet are in the same spot, I can only bring my arm here, okay? But when I step back, I have all this extra room that I can hit the dog into.
Oh, thank you. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. So initially, like if you're just trying to keep your feet in the same spot, you don't have as much room to work with. And when your dog is just learning how to do this, that can be hard because you got to kind of whip them around, as we can see Stacy is doing, to get their butt to come around. So stepping back will make that much, much easier. That's a great question.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else, if you could unmute or mute yourself.
I also have a question. In a heel, in like towards a down, how would you teach that? So doing from a heel and then from him being in a heel to a down, from a sit to a down. So
Yeah.
like positioning, like I don't.
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so we're gonna do, yeah, we'll do from a heel into straight into a down. Okay. Now, if you're just teaching your dog this, or rather teaching your dog this combination, I'm just gonna be on my knees. Okay, I'm not gonna try to do a whole bunch of other things because, especially with a small dog. But I'm gonna get Bonnie into the heel position. Now a heel is an auto sit. Okay, so we're gonna start from the sit. Maybe if I had some leash management, that would be easier for everyone. So we're gonna get Bonnie into a sit. And now I've got the treat. I'm still holding it. So I'm gonna get it in between my index finger and my thumb. So I've got it nice and tight, and we're gonna move fast here. So we're bringing her around. We get her nice and perfect. Yes, good, heel. And now I'm just gonna drop the treat down, right to the ground. And if you can see, she's there, all right? Ideally what we wanna see, that it's hard to see here, but her hip is facing towards me. And the reason for that is then she can roll. I'm gonna kind of force her to roll, but then she can roll into me. Release. Okay, if her hip is facing the other direction, then she's going to roll away from us. Okay, and this goes into the mobility conversation again, where if the graduate that your dog goes to has mobility issues, we always want to keep the dog moving towards the person. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind with that. Daniela, does that answer your question?
Yes. So does her, like, him or her butt, like her tail, is it supposed to be facing out or towards in? Because I heard like their butt technically is supposed to be facing out, because if they're doing wheelchair, they don't want to, like, if the person backs up, they don't want their tail to get run over or anything.
Okay, so maybe that could be something different from region to region. I mean, that's certainly a consideration. I generally try to teach my dog, to have a little bit of tail awareness. But let's see what happens. That's a great question. I've never had that question before. So let's back myself up here. So I'm gonna bring her into the down in the heel position. I'm gonna turn her head away from me to get her butt towards me. Now, many times the dogs are naturally going to curl their tail in anyways. So I'm gonna put a little bit of pressure here. Yes, good girl. All right, release. I'm gonna move just a couple of things around because I think it might be easier for people to see. So practice that for a moment. Thank you everyone for your patience on this. Hi. Okay, so I think this will be easier for people to see, okay? We have a little bit more room now. Funny. Yes. Move this here. Okay, so once again, we're going to, and sorry if my voice starts to get quieter. We're going to do the down, turning her head away, and she will start to move her butt towards you. Okay? Fun? That's it. All right. Are people able? Any questions on getting their dog to switch where their butt is? Think we're good? Can I get a thumbs up if we're all good on that? Thumbs up, I see some thumbs up. Okay, perfect. All right, now what we're gonna do, come here you little bugger. We are gonna combine this all and we're going to do a heel to a bed and a bed to a heel. Oh, actually, we forgot to show people how to do a bed, huh? All right, so we're gonna do a bed first. Get your mat, get your towel, whatever you'd like to use. I'm using a pink bright mat so she knows what it is that I'm wanting her to target. Now, when I'm teaching this, generally what I'm looking to do, if you were to imagine that this is on the floor, is I am tracing the outline of this, so then the dog curls up. I'm almost making a C shape, so the dog will curl up on the bed, okay? That's my motion here. And let's see if we can get some heavier things, huh? Okay. Hopefully that doesn't end poorly for my computer. Okay. All right. So we've got our mat. It's right in front of us. I've got my treats as well. I'm gonna start Bonnie out in pretty much the heel position. Okay. Yes, good girl. Good heel. What a good girl. Now I'm gonna take my second treat. I'm gonna lure her over and I'm outlining the mat. There she is. 80% of her body is on the carpet or the mat. Yes. Good girl. Good bed. Release. Oh, so good. Okay. What I like to do is I like to shoot for 80% of the dog's body. All right, and once again, we'll try it, and then from here, we just go into a heel. Yes, good girl, good heel. Now, if your dog has not done a heel where you are on your knees, they may be a little bit confused because this is a different position than what they're used to seeing you in. If you don't think positioning of your body matters, try laying flat on the ground and have your dog do commands. They'll totally probably get flabbergasted. All right, hey, yes. All right, taking that treat, once again, I'm gonna outline. So she's curled up. Ooh. You're like part cat, aren't you, Bonnie? Okay, yes, good bed. Good girl. Now, one thing I'm gonna know here specifically is that Bonnie's hips are not off to one side or the other. They're kind of just facing straight up. And what that's telling me is that this is a less, she's probably not planning to stay here very long, okay? So if you can get your dog to push their hips over to the side, that's a more relaxed position, okay? Rather than if they're square to the ground. Release, release, come here. So keep that in mind, and as, let's plug in my computer. Bonnie, we might be out of luck on the plugs. All right. Okay. So let's see some people doing some beds here. All right. Nice work, Victoria. Beautiful, Linda. And if you need, there you go. Very nice. Hi. Yes. Don't lick me, though. Perfect, Tony. Nice job, Jeeves. And yeah, when we're first starting to teach our dog the bed command, I like to have the bed pretty much just right in front of where our dog is. We're going to keep it nice and easy for them. We're not going to challenge it. But as they become more and more comfortable with it, then we can begin to start taking some steps back away from the mat and starting to do distance work. Remember, every time that we are moving away from an object, we want to more or less restart how we are. We're going to do maybe some more luring. We're not going to expect them to have it perfect on that time because we're changing up the rules, of the game. There we go. Nice work, Carmelita. And then we can have our dog. Now, if your dog knows the side command, you can also switch it up and you can have your dog do a side to bed and bed to side. Don't be surprised if your dog needs a little bit of encouragement or lure at that point too. There, nice. Now, once your dog gets to the point where you're, 5 feet or so away from the bed, I want you to become more and more aware of any other subtle hand motions or movements that you're giving your dog. Okay, if you're noticing every time that you have to bring the leash forward, then that's potentially a cue that you want to see if your dog knows just the word or if they're going off of some body language. All right, that can be a little bit more of a subtle thing to find, but if you record yourself more or less like what we're doing here, you can rewatch the video and see if maybe you have a little tell, so to speak, of what's going on. There we go, Daniela, nice. Your dog is, I would say, it's hard for me to tell in this position, but just be aware if your dog's butt is kind of angled out. If we want them to be nice and parallel with you and not like skewed off to the side. Okay, it's hard for me to see in this angle, but it almost, just be aware of that because when they go back down to training, that's something they spend a lot of time working on positioning. So they really want it nice and crisp, okay? For some dogs, they spend like the first couple of weeks just on positioning. So if we can do that at home, that gives our dog a leg up on training because they don't have to do the remedial stuff, right? Okay, excellent. So any questions regarding bed? And you can either, if you're too far away from your computer, you can raise your hand or you can chime in or raise your hand, whatever you need. Yeah, oh, you cradle just so nice. Okay, any questions on that? All right, so we're gonna take the last little bit of the hour and we're gonna cradle our dogs. So who here has not cradled their dogs before? I'm not sure if the other regions do that. Are we all familiar with cradling? Okay, if you're unfamiliar with it, let me just scoot myself back. You're essentially gonna have your dog in between your legs. Hi, yeah, this is kind of fun, isn't it? It's weird. All right, I'm way over here. So I've got my legs apart. I'm putting our dog in between, and then I'm putting my legs on either side of them. Okay, that's what a cradle looks like. Okay. Yeah, of course, Beth. This is open to anyone. So thank you for raising for CCI. And this is just a great way for us to build more community and keep working our dogs and having fun with it. So we're going to be doing some cradling. This is a great time that we're able to check our dog's paws. We can work their teeth. We can put our fingers in their teeth, or not in their teeth, but in their mouth. We can rub their gums. There's a lot of, over the years, I've seen a lot of dogs that aren't super into having fingers in their mouth. And that's an important thing for when they go to the vet. We want to make sure, or when you're brushing their teeth. We can also check their ears at this time. This is especially this time of year where it's kind of warm out, but it's also wet in many areas. We want to make sure that there's no ear infections on either side. Yeah. So all of the maintenance stuff is actually, I would say, even more important during this time when not all vets are open. Yes, Taryn.
I know.
Okay. So what we're going to do.
I'm going to sign out.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. What we're going to do now is I'm going to take some time and answer any questions that people have, or maybe some struggles that they're having with their dogs, and I'll do my best to answer those questions. This doesn't have to be pertaining to this specific class. Maybe it's, I don't know, who knows? Whatever the issues, we'll spend some time doing some cradling and talking and checking in with each other. So you can either raise your hand in the chat, or you can type it in. Usually it's easier if you talk. I see Janet maybe typing us. Once they know how shake, how do you, teach wave. Okay, that's a great question. So wave, I would just have my hand out probably a little bit further so the dog is kind of pawing, okay? So instead of, when you're teaching shake, let me see if I got a treat here. So when I teach, so what I would say is wave is not a CCI command, first off, but we can teach them extra things, it's fun. So I'll have a treat in my hand and then I'll cup it. And when the dog is getting frustrated, they're gonna paw, likely to paw at it like so. So I would, see, right, Stacy, your dog is, yeah, just like so. And I would bring my hand away so your dog is missing and doing this action. And then I would mark that with a yes, good wave. All right. So that's a fun one, especially right now with all the social distancing. If you want to teach your dog to wave if you're taking your dog for a walk or whatever, you know, I think that would really make people's day if your dog was able to wave to them as you were walking by. That's a great one.
I also have a question. It's about the tormenting of nail clipping. He hates nail clipping. He's a Duke puppy, so I don't know if they taught them like nail clipping when they were kids, but I am struggling with him with just like, I can get the clippers near his nail and then tap it, but I can't clip. Like I can't get to the point of clipping. So I don't know if you have like some tips of just letting him like tolerate like the clipping. Or... Yeah.
So nail tip clipping can be hard. Especially, you know, as the dogs are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, it just becomes kind of like more of an issue in and of itself, especially if your dog doesn't like to have their nails clipped. Are you able, so it sounds like you're able can you put pressure on his nails just with your hands and your finger?
Yeah, so I can grab him. Sometimes he pulls away because he's like, oh, what are you doing, lady? Or like he sees the nail clippers and I just like stimulate him with like just touching his paws and not doing anything with the nail clippers, and he'll like go away because he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But it comes to the point where I can have the clipper right on the nail, but once I like clip, like hold the clipper, he just freaks.
Okay. So how is he? He seems like he's okay with being in a roll, in a cradle, so that's good.
Yeah.
You know, if I would, so you can do a couple of things. There's a couple of approaches. If you can have someone assist you and have like a longer piece of like jerky treat.
Okay.
You can have him chew on the jerky treat. So he's more distracted. Is he food motivated? He's a lab.
He is very food motivated.
Yeah.
Loves food.
That way he's more interested in getting at that treat.
Okay.
Than what you're doing. And even at that point, what I would do is I would only clip one nail and then just make that be like a super exciting thing, right? Okay. I wouldn't try to force it all the way through. That's, you know, you always want it to be positive and an exciting thing, right? Someone else, I don't know if she left the call, but Tracy, one of the raisers from my group, we were actually just talking about this the other night in my chapters call. She freezes peanut butter on a spoon.
Okay.
And then the dog is able to lick the spoon and is super into that, right? Something else that you can do is, oh, yep, someone else I like to use peanut butter on a spoon. There you go. You can also try it in a sit and a stand, nail clipping. Okay. Some dogs, it's just having them being in a roll is a much more of like what am I trying to say? A vulnerable position for them. And then the act of clipping nails can just be a little bit too much. So see if he's a little bit better in a sit or a stand as well, okay?
He likes to do it in a down.
He likes to do it in a down? Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to get groomed, like Zoom groomed in a down. I have tried the peanut butter and I've had someone else clip his nails, but he like kind of figured out what was going on and he was like, oh, this peanut butter so you can clip my nails. So he would kind of like turn his body and he's like, no. And then be away from the peanut butter, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would start with like one nail at a time.
Okay.
It might take a little bit longer, but if it's able to be a completely positive experience, over time you're going to build that up, and then he'll be that's my finger. That'll be a much more pleasant experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing I had was, is he required to tolerate the Dremel? Because this boy doesn't like the Dremel, but if I grab a like human nail file and I file his nails, he's like the happiest pup in the entire world. I don't know if that's allowed.
I would, I don't, to my knowledge, there's no requirement that they have to be Dremeled.
Okay.
But if I would still work on getting him used to it.
Okay.
And, maybe he's just playing you a little bit and wants a spa day. So, I don't, it's hard to know, but especially if he's, it just may be the revolutions and the noise that he doesn't like.
Okay. Yeah, he really likes the nail file, and I'm allowed to like file all his 4 paws without in a cradle and him like sleeping. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and Carmelita said that if you get some pasta and clip the pasta, that's actually a really good idea because it is simulating the sound.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay. Is there any other questions before we get off the call? Okay, I'm thinking Carmelita might have something. But anyways, yeah, so thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah, of course. I was kind of itching to work the dogs, so this was a great opportunity. It was also kind of pushing my comforts of doing something like this. So thank you all for accommodating and your patience with that. I'm going to do another one tomorrow night because I don't actually have a dog right now, but I am borrowing a dog for the next 2 nights. So I'm going to do another class tomorrow night. We'll do something different. I have yet to determine what that is. So, be on the lookout for that. Everyone is invited and we can just have fun with our dogs. Is there anything that people would like to do tomorrow since I haven't made up a class yet? Many times my in-person classes are based on what people are struggling with. We could work on a visit. Yeah, we can actually work on a visit for any of the 8. I don't mind showing any of the dogs that. And kennel, yes. Oh man, kennel. We can certainly do that. And so in between, if your dog, depending on where you're at, depending where your dog, if they've eaten yet, start feeding your dog in the kennel. So then they get more comfortable with it. And it's like an exciting, awesome place. And then back. Oh, back. All right. I think I'll figure out a way to show a back here in an easy way. So those are great ones, and I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing it at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time again. And if you're part of the family group, the CCI PSC or CCI family group, I'll post it on there again to get registered, so then you're able to jump on. And then also think of if there's any other questions that you might have in between now and then. So have a wonderful evening, everyone. Stay healthy, have fun with your dogs, and be good. All right. See you later, everyone. Bye.